Episode 3429, The Art of Romance in Marriage.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. I hope you're having a fabulous weekend. I am still traveling and enjoying beautiful weather down here in Florida. How about you? I hope you have sunshine in your space and also in your heart. But today it's all about your spouse and your relationship in your marriage, the art of romance in marriage. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already haven't had the opportunity, you want to head over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, inspiring connection and community. You know, have you ever thought about where you are and what you do and why you do it in your marriage? Now, that's a pretty blanket question. It could go a lot of different directions. But after the dating, after the, oh my gosh, you make my heart pound and all of that sweet talk, life happens. Whether you say I do or not, but we're going to assume you say I do. You get into this rhythm and all of a sudden you have to live life. It's not about chasing the other person and trying to get their attention and letting them know how awesome they are. It's more about, now we got to pay the bills. Have you called this person? Oh, wait, the garbage disposal is broken. We need to get the plumber out here. Or, well, the kids flushed something down the toilet, right? It's called life. And sometimes in life, we forget that there's romance. And then when we do think about romance, we have this thing in our mind, like it's that white picket fence, that everything has to be this grand gesture, that candlelight dinner or passionate declaration of love. But the art of romance in marriage goes beyond these clichés in maintaining a strong and loving bond. Think about how you define romance, specifically romance in your marriage. Do you even have a definition? Maybe you think it's all about intimacy. The three-letter word that, no one really likes to say, but we kind of like to do. Anyway, you get my drift, right? sex. Okay. When you think about it that way, that's fine. You can think about it from the intimacy perspective. However, I want you to take it to another level. Defining romance in the context of marriage, you can look at it as the intentional nurturing of love, intimacy, and connection between two people. And these two people we're talking about are spouses, right? A married couple. It involves making each other feel special, appreciated, and cherished on a regular basis. Now listen to that one more time. When you're talking about romance, it's about making each other, you make your spouse makes you feel special. You stand out, just like it was when you were dating. Oh wait, and appreciated. When was the last time you thanked your spouse? When was the last time your spouse thanked you? Think about it. Seriously. And when I say thanked them, literally they're like, oh man, this dinner was magnificent. Or, you know what, hon, I just, forgot to tell you, but thanks for taking out the garbage. I mean, whatever it is, simple things. Maybe it's about being cherished on a regular basis. You see, in marriage, romance is not just about sparks and butterflies. Yes, sparks and butterflies create that energy. And we want to go with that energy because that's part of the chase. That brings out these endorphins within our body that says, oh, I want more because it makes me feel good. But when life happens, you're like, throw the relationship in the trash can. I don't have time for this. Now, you don't really say that, but you feel that. It's about building, though, a deep and enduring emotional connection with your partner. That's what romance is. It's not just this woo-woo and this, energy like, oh, I'm going to get you one of these days. Okay, no, maybe one of these days you already got your person, but now you got to build with your person. There's a difference. I also want you to think about how you see romance now versus how you saw it before you were married. Was it different? What has changed? Maybe it's your attitude. Some people would say, Oh, Christiane, I have just totally outgrown my spouse. My husband, I don't know, he just like won't grow up. But man, I've totally changed. I've become this new person. It's like we've grown apart. Have you ever thought that? If you're honest, your answer is going to be yes. I don't care how long you've been married. At some point in that marriage of yours, you have fallen apart a little bit, where you're like, you question. Okay, now that you may not use those exact words, but you begin to say, well, gosh, if I had to do this all over again, would I say I do? And sometimes the answer is, H-E-double hockey sticks, no. And other times it's like, why wouldn't I? This is awesome. I wouldn't change anything. It's the best thing ever. Why is it that we flutter in our own marriages? Butterflies flutter, but you see, when it comes to romance, we can't flutter. We've got to build this strong foundation so that when everything shifts, your romance, your love for each other doesn't. It can withstand the cracks of time. Romancing your spouse doesn't have to be extravagant. Romancing your spouse isn't about spending tons and tons and tons of money. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that. If you want to go on a cruise every other month, great. If you want to buy jewelry and all of this, great. Furs, whatever it is, if you've got the finances to do it, fabulous. But the thing is this, it's not always about the finances. And if we are real with each other, you with your spouse, me with my husband, a lot of times it has nothing to do with money. It's not about what you can purchase. It's the thought and effort that counts the most, that comes from the heart. And see, we remember the heart when we're dating, but for some reason we get lost in life and the heart just kind of gets put on the sidelines. And then all of a sudden we're like, but I need my I've got to have my needs met. I need more, and I'm not getting what I think I deserve. And then all of a sudden it goes to a whole nother level. And then we're having adult temper tantrums. It is a mess. You've probably been down that road. So what is romance for you? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what it was before you were married and what it is now. And maybe you haven't even thought about it. So let's go over a few things. If you really want to understand the art of romance in marriage, you got to build romance on a daily basis. That is your Kiss to Keep It Simple strategy. Build romance on a daily basis. These are small, meaningful gestures done, key word here, consistently. You got to do it on a daily basis. That doesn't mean you're doing the same thing, even though you can do the same thing. But it doesn't mean you have to do the same thing, but you are putting the effort. You see, when you were dating, you put the effort. It was still in the chase. But when you got married, you're like, I already got it. So now I don't have to worry about it. Oh, yeah, you do. Marriage takes work. Remember, in life, change is a constant. That means your marriage can change, and it does change. We as individuals, we change. And if you're not changing as a couple, guess what? Your marriage is going to change. And there's lots of different directions it can go. And you've got to be very conscious of that. And I'm not saying you sit here and you stew over it every single night and you're losing sleep. I'm not saying that. But if you're already beginning to have thoughts of, what's going to happen when the kids grow up and your kids are only 2 years old and 6 years old and 9 years old, whatever it is. You're already having those thoughts. What's going to happen when they're in middle school and high school? It's only going to get worse. And then when you become an empty nester, or the kids are at least gone, they're doing other things, they're more involved, and that can happen in high school. For some people now, it happens in middle school. It's crazy. And life gets even more busy and more congested. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, everything was focused on the kids, but now it's like they're not around and I have nothing now to talk about because I don't really have to worry about the kids. A lot of parents fear the whole thing of getting their driver's license, having their kids get their driver's license. Do you know why? Because now the kid no longer needs mama or dada. Nope, they can just go about their business. They can drive themselves to practice. And it's like, well, now what am I going to do? And now you're sitting across the table from your spouse, or maybe you don't eat at a table anymore. You're eating at the couch, which is fine, wherever you eat and share a meal. And all of a sudden it's like, do I even know this person next to me? Build romance on a daily basis. You've got to have those small, meaningful gestures. So what does that look like in real life? Number one, surprise them. Surprise them, whether it's a spontaneous love note left on the mirror. I love that. Yes, get your markers out, preferably ones that will erase. I'm just saying. Or if you want to be a little more sexy, put a little sexy sass into it. I'm telling you this, grab an old tube of lipstick. Now, if you are a mama, guess what's happening tomorrow? Father's Day. Don't you think you can do a little bit of sexy something for your husband and say, hey, thanks for being a great dad. I don't care if it's a blended family, whatever it is. Maybe you've been together for 30 some years, 50 years, whatever it is. Surprise the father of your children. Now, I'm making the assumption you're still married. If you're not married, you can still help them, right? I mean, Father's Day is a big deal. And we've got to be kind. You know, our children feed off of our energy. They feed off of our actions. So you've got to look at what you're modeling. And so when you're looking at the art of romance, your children are watching you. And so when you think about, leaving that love note, what if my children come in? What if they do come in? You are in love with your spouse. That says something. And you want to continue to rekindle that flame and to keep it burning. So why not leave that love note? Why not have a surprise breakfast in bed or an unexpected gesture that just says, you know what? You are beyond amazing. I love you. Even just a thank you note. John Gottman says this, it's the small everyday acts of kindness and affection that make a marriage strong. What are you doing now? What do you do ever? What was the last time that you said thank you? When was the last time you surprised your spouse without you asking, what would you like me to get for your birthday? Yeah, that does not count. That's not a surprise. If they tell you, that is not a surprise. So it's very important to spend the time and the energy. And that leads me to number 2, quality time. Yes, we are all busy. I get it. I am not going to slow down. I'm just not. I've got a big family. It's continuing to grow. Grandchildren are now coming. It is crazy busy. But I make time for my husband. And I set that time aside, even if I'm traveling, like I'm gone at a mastermind event right now for the week. And it's one of those things where, yes, we're apart, but guess what? I'm already planning on what I'm going to do when I get back into town. And it's easy just to let quality time with your spouse just fall to the wayside. So make a conscious effort to spend uninterrupted time together. Maybe it's just watching a movie. Maybe it's something on Netflix. Maybe it's taking a walk or having a heartfelt conversation. When was the last time you dreamed together? Not your own dreams, not your separate dreams, your dreams as a couple, as a family. What does that look like? Dr. Gary Chapman says this, quality time is essential in keeping the love alive. If you're not spending time together, why are you together? Yeah, kind of a crazy question, I know, but maybe one that you need to be answering. Now, you may be in the season of life where you all have to be apart more than together. That's okay. But that means when you are together, make sure you're together, that you are present, because you can spend time together, but it's not quality of time. It's more now quantity of time. And just to say, yeah, I'm with my husband every single night, but how much do you really know your husband during that time? How much do you know as in you and your spouse, your dreams together? Surprise them. Have that quality of time together. And then finally, number 3, the physical touch. Yes, I know the big SEX, which I know is great. It's fabulous. And it is crucial, but it's not the only thing when it comes to the physicality of marriage, the art of romance. It's simple gestures like holding hands, hugging, maybe just snuggling on the couch. All of that can communicate love and affection in a powerful way. It goes much deeper than you just saying, Oh, well, isn't it about time? Because, I've been kind of missing you. And then you're like, oh, I want to get it all on, whatever, you want to have the quickie. Okay. I get that. But you also have to have the physical touch, as in, I just want to hold your hand. Why? Because I love you. I want to be near you. And that doesn't mean that it has to be something where it always involves, well, I'll just let your mind wander there. When was the last time you hugged your spouse? Really hugged your spouse? Seriously, think about that. A lot of people can't even answer that question because it's been too long. What about you? Maya Angelou says this: I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How do you make your spouse feel? Are they energized by your presence? Or do you wound their heart when you show up? Seriously, think about it. Your words, your tone, your eyes, your posture. Is it welcoming or is it more of a stabbing greeting? And what I mean by that is, are you attacking your spouse when they walk in the door? Or are you one who just, they know? It reminds me of a book, Creating a Haven of Peace, written by Joanne Miller, a good friend of mine. And she just has this knack. I mean, it is a gift. And if you haven't read a book, you want a great book. We also did an interview with her. I'll put the link in the show notes, with her years ago. But this book is, man, it's real today. And we need to be looking at our home. And when you look at your spouse, you need to be creating a haven of peace. You want your spouse to come into your presence. You should be willing to go into their presence, right? I mean, if I don't want to be around my husband, oh, why am I with him then? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? It all comes to, how do you make your spouse feel? How are you setting up your home? How are you setting up your own body in order to receive your spouse? And no, we're not going down the rabbit hole of the sex. I'm talking about your tone of voice, the words you use, the actions that you present. Are you turning away from your spouse all the time? If my husband walks in the door and my greeting is, yeah, hey, how are you? But I'm turning my body and walking away, not because the kids need me or I need to tend to our English bulldog. It's all about, yeah, you're here, whatever. Now you're just causing me more work and I'm done. I don't want to deal with it. That's not a good foundation. When your spouse walks in, they should feel open arms and an open heart from you. Is that what you're giving your spouse? And here are a couple other thoughts I've had. You've got to be aware of your environment. Again, talking about how you are receiving your spouse. When you're creating this haven of peace, when you are allowing the two of you to come together, is it something that's hostile? Or is it something that where you can just take a deep breath and it's like a sunset on the ocean? There's nothing like it. Stay committed to your relationship so your passion doesn't turn somewhere else. I'm not saying somewhere else as in a person. Now, yes, that can happen. I'm talking about staying committed to your relationship so you just don't wander. You don't grab another hobby that you don't need to do. I mean, you could be like a gamer. You could be someone who says, oh, well, I'm going to become a shopaholic, or wait, food's going to be my thing that I go to. What is it for you? I don't want you to get to that point. That's why you have to stay engaged on a daily basis when it comes to romance. You build it one step at a time. One step at a time leads to miles of greatness in your marriage. And don't pressure your spouse to be everything. Find other ways to feel whole. Right? Your spouse cannot give you everything. I'm telling you that right now. If you're young and in love and early in your marriage and you're still kind of in the honeymoon phase, or you kind of ebb and flow out of it, but you're kind of still there and you can smile and you're like, yeah, we're still together. It's the best thing ever. And it's like you just got married yesterday. That's fabulous. However, your spouse cannot give you everything to make you as a person feel whole. It's not going to happen. I've been married now 32 years, almost. We've been together so much longer. It has been a long trip around the sun, year after year after year. But let me tell you, we both have put in our time, and we are more together and more in love now than when we said, I do. Oh, and by the way, we dated for 3.5 years before that. So we've been together for a very long time. And it doesn't come easy. But you've got to understand that your spouse is not going to give you everything. And then what you put into your marriage is what you'll get out of it. So if you're not putting in any effort, do you think you're going to get anything out of it? Well, if you are thinking that, then you're being selfish. I'm just going to call it out like it is. Because that's what we do here. Romance is the heart's way of saying, I see you. I cherish you. I choose you every day. Are you choosing your spouse every day? The art of romance starts with saying, you know what? I want to think about you always. I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you and close to you. And when you do that, that's where you can strengthen your bond and create a love that stands the test of time. But you've got to be willing to create your now when it comes to romance. Go in peace, be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.